What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Nevin the Barber, and in today's YouTube video we're going to be covering a high taper with the number 5 guard on top. So I'm going to break this video down very simple for you guys. We're going to be doing the same steps on every side of the haircut. So first things first, we're going to knock off all of the bulk with the number 5 guard. And after we have that set, we'll go ahead and create our bald line. Today I'm using the gamma hitters. You guys can see that I was able to execute that bald line pretty easily. And after we have that done, I'll go ahead and use my gamma fusions with the lever all the way open. So this right here is going to be cutting the hair down to a 0.5 length. And after we have that guideline put in, I went ahead and used the 1.5 guard all the way closed. So this is now cutting the hair down to a 1.5. And now that we have those guidelines set, I'm gonna begin debulking. That way we can just come back down and fade into our haircut. So now that I took off the bulk, I'm gonna use the 1/2 guard all the way open. So this is now cutting the hair down to a short number 1 guard length. And you guys can see that I'm just closing the lever little by little. And this right here is called lever play. So we're just gonna do this throughout our steps to kind of erase each line. And it's very important that you guys pay attention to the growth pattern of the hair whenever you're running the clipper up through it. And just be patient whenever you guys are going through your steps. Some of your clients are gonna have easier hair textures to fade out than others. But just be sure to go through all your steps, and if you guys are consistent and patient, it should come out pretty blurry. So now that we have that step done, I went back to my gamma foil shaver just to get our initial trimmer line all the way down to the skin. And now with my Andis T Outliners, I'm flicking out that skin line. And for the last step in this taper, I went ahead and used my Andis Masters all the way closed. And I do have these right here zero gapped, so you guys can see I was able to blend that skin line into the fade very easy. And personally, I do like to take out my skin line out at the end of the fade, just because I know what each step is used for whenever I'm going through my steps as I fade out the hair. But you guys try out this technique and let me know what you think about it. Like I said, personally it works pretty good for me. And now that we have that bottom section blended out, I went ahead and just edged up the side of my client's hairline. I always like to line up the sides before I actually line up the front of my client's hairline. It just makes it a little bit easier. Alright, and to finish off the left side of the taper, I went ahead and did some thinning shear over comb. And what this is doing right here is just kind of lightening the taper into the bulk of the side of my client's head. You guys can see that I'm just kind of rolling the comb out through those dark areas. And personally, I do like to use shears in areas like this along the haircut, especially along the parietal ridge, because you guys can lighten those dark areas out real easy, rather than, you know, using the clippers. Sometimes the clippers will give more of a choppier look, but personally I like to use thinning shears and even regular shears just to thin out the blend into the bulk of the hair. So you guys can give it a shot and let me know what you think of this as well. You guys can see that the taper is starting to come together little by little. And now that we have the left side of the taper complete, we'll begin doing the same exact steps on the right side. So once again, I'm carving in my bald line with the gamma hitters. And once we have that cut down, we can go in with no guard, lever open. Again, this is cutting the hair down to a 0.5 length. And after we have that guideline set, we can go back to the 1.5 guard all the way closed. And again, this is cutting down to the 1.5. So now that we have our 3 sections cut, we'll begin taking off the bulk with the 2 guard open and the 2 guard closed. And after we have that done, I went back to the half guard, just doing some lever play, starting with the lever all the way open. And again, these steps right here are very simple, yet they're very effective. If any of you guys are having trouble, you know, blending out tapers or fades, you can try out this technique. And now that I have that middle section blended out, we're gonna work on the first initial bald line. So again, I'm flicking out the skin line, and then I'm gonna go back with my Andis Masters all the way closed. And again, you guys just wanna do lever play and pay attention to that growth pattern, because everyone's hair is gonna be a little bit different. So just be sure to pay attention to the growth pattern and really get all those details you guys can. And to finish the rest of this taper, I just went ahead and did some clipper over comb, just to show you guys you can blend into the fade while doing clipper over comb or shear over comb. Personally, I like to use shear over comb, just because you can detail out those dark areas a little bit easier. But now that we have both sides of the taper blended out, I began doing the lineup. And as always, you guys want to keep the hairline as natural as possible. Nobody wants a pushback hairline. And of course, the more natural you keep it, the longer the haircut will last. So, you know, be sure to of course try to get a crispy cut, but just keep it right at that natural line. And right here, I am applying some enhancement since my client was a little bit light in his corners. You guys can see it's very simple to apply enhancements. These enhancements right here is just some Kiss Express, something real simple that you guys can buy from Walmart. But now that we have that done, I'll just begin blending out the back of my client's taper, and we'll just do a few more finishing details. But again, you guys can see I'm carving in my initial bald line with my gamma hitters. And you guys want to make sure to get this guideline as even as possible. That way, you know, the blend can look as symmetrical as possible on your client's scalp. And I'm just going over it with my Braun Series 9 shaver, just to get it all the way down to the skin before we start fading into the hair. And I personally do love this shaver right here. It's very powerful, and I do recommend it if any of you barbers are looking for another shaver. And now for our next step, of course, you guys know we're doing no guard lever open. This is cutting the hair down to a 0.5. So once we got that set above our skin line, we're gonna go ahead and go with the 1.5 guard all the way closed. And this is cutting the hair down to a 1.5 length. So you guys can see we have our 3 sections, the skin line, the 0.5, and the 1.5. And after we have those 3 set, I went with the 2 guard open, and now we're doing some clipper over comb. This is a very effective technique right here if you guys are struggling with blending into bulk. And now that we have our bulk blended out, I just went back with the half guard just to polish out that bottom area of the blend from the 0.5 to the 1.5. And once that's all blended out, I went back to the Andis Masters all the way closed, cutting the hair down to a 0.00 right above our skin line. And once we have those steps complete, we can begin the edge up behind our client's ear. And with this too, you guys want to keep it as natural as you can. You don't really want to dig in too high behind your client's ear. And you guys can see these trimmers right here, we're able to execute that line pretty easily. I do have them 0 gapped, and I highly recommend that you guys gap your trimmers if you haven't already. It will make a big difference. So now that we have the taper complete on all 3 sides, I'll begin the razor lineup. And whenever you guys do a lineup with the razor, you always want to make sure to stretch the skin. That way you guys can get all those little baby hairs with the razor against the grain. It makes a really big difference, and this will make your client's haircut last a lot longer. And whenever I do my razor lineups, I always like to lean my client back just so I can get that crispy cut against the grain on their forehead. And again, one more time, just on the sides of their lineup, you guys can see that I'm just getting it as crispy as possible with that razor. And I'm just gonna go ahead and repolish the blend, just put in a few more details to make this taper pop out as much as I can. You guys know that barbering is an art, so it's very important that you go back and put in every detail that you can. This will not only increase your chances of retainment, but your client will appreciate it as well. So always be sure to go back and check your work. Be sure to put in all the details that you can before you let your client leave your chair. And like I always say, you know, detail is key. If you guys are putting in the details and truly trying to get better with every cut, this is how you're gonna gain more clientele and get better in the industry. So always, you know, be sure to take your time and put in all those extra details on your clients. But with that being said, that's pretty much it for today's high taper haircut tutorial. If you guys learned anything in today's video, I appreciate it if you could leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. With that being said, it's your boy Nevin the Barber, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.